All right, now we're going to use the verb estar and talk about places and locations. Because remember, the verb estar, which is an irregular verb that means to be temporary, estoy means I am, estás means you informal are, está means he is, she is, you formal is, or it is. Estamos is we are. Estáis, you all informal are, and están, you all formal are, or they are, or the it plural are. So since we are locating people or things, you can use any of the form of the verbs, but because we're going to be talking about locations of cities and places in the city, we're going to be using the bottom two, está and están, for it singular or it plural, because we are going to be locating things for this particular unit. All right, on the bottom of page, or on page 73, there are some location vocabulary words. So you need to know these phrases so that you can tell me where the book is, where the park is, where Mrs. Qualley is. Okay, so the first phrase is cerca de. Cerca de, and that means near or close to. Again, you cannot literally translate that because we learned that the word de meant of or from. So once again, you can't really, literally translate that phrase. Lejos de is far from. Lejos de. North is el norte, definitely a cognate. You always, always have to have el in front of the cardinal directions of north, south, east, west. El sur is south. El sur. El este is east. El este. El oeste is west. El oeste. El centro is center. En means in or on, definitely a cognate as well, just like the last few were. The hardest ones, but really the more literal ones, is to the left of. And a la izquierda de literally means to the left of. And you've already learned the words to and the and of. So the only new word in that phrase is izquierda. Izquierda. And to the right of. A la derecha de. A la derecha de. Now, these are the vocabulary, but you can combine them because I could say that my car is to the left of the bank and to the right of the park. Okay, so it could be basically saying in the middle of. Or I could combine and say northeast, el norte este, or southwest, el sur oeste. Or I could say in the center, en el centro. So you definitely can combine these. So although there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 phrases, you can combine them and make into more words. All right, so let's get into lugares, the places. Lugar means place. Lugares, if you make it plural, means places. So put this vocabulary down on page 72. Put both the English and the Spanish and the pronunciation. All right, the first one, el aeropuerto. El aeropuerto means airport, definitely a cognate. If you break that out down into two parts, aero is a prefix referring to aviation, right? Aeronautics, aerospace. Puerto, we already said, meant port as in Puerto Rico that we learned earlier. So put those two things together and you don't have a difficult word, plus it's a cognate. Another cognate, el apartamento. El apartamento. Put an O on the end of apartment, and you have an apartment. El banco is bank. El banco. Now again, it is a cognate, but remember, forget about the letter K. Put a C in instead. El banco. All right, la iglesia. La iglesia. You would use that word to refer to the word church or a cathedral, which is just a Catholic church, like most of Latin America, like most of Europe. Since they are Catholic, they have nice, big, fancy churches. We tend to make it a generic word. We just say a church for everything. Okay, la iglesia. La ciudad is a cognate and it has that suffix dad. Remember that suffix always is feminine and it means ty, so you can kind of see that that's a cognate. La ciudad means city. La factoría has the accent over the I, so give me an ia at the end, and that's definitely a cognate. La factoría. Farm, la finca. La finca. Not a cognate, but it does start with the first same letter. No accents, and it's a short word, so maybe you can kind of make that connection visually that it's a short word, starts with an F, and again, we're talking about all places. La finca. All right, the next one has 4 words, but again, don't get too hung up about this. La estación de bomberos. La estación de bomberos. So it's the station of firemen, is literally what it's saying. Remember, any word that ends in sion is always feminine. That suffix means shun. So like station. So you can kind of see the word station in there. That's definitely a cognate. Bomberos, well, if there was a bomb threat, the firemen would come. They're the trained people to deal with that sort of thing. So bomberos means firemen. La estación de bomberos. El bosque is forest. El bosque. Remember, Q-U-E sounds like K. Bosque is forest. Here's another one of those combinations, so you know la estación de from fire station, and now we're just going to change bomberos to gasolina. La estación de gasolina. Definitely can tell that's a cognate, the station of gasoline. La estación de gasolina. El hospital is an exact cognate, but remember, H's are silent. El hospital. Another exact cognate, hotel. El hotel. El hotel. So just remember, H's are silent. House or the word home. They're the same word in Spanish, but 2 different words in English. La casa. La casa. Maybe you've heard the expression, mi casa es su casa, means my house is your house. You're welcome anytime kind of thing. So if you've heard of that phrase, that helps you to remember this word since it's not a cognate. La casa. El lago is lake. El lago. Lake. I would call it a cognate. It's 4 letters. It starts with the same 2 letters. So it's definitely close enough that you can remember lago means lake. El parque is park. El parque. And again, that QU as in forest, bosque, sounds like a K, but remember, forget the letter K. You're going to use other letter combinations in Spanish to come up with that sound. I think parque is more a sound-alike cognate than a look-alike cognate, because when you say parque, you can hear the word park. La plaza is a plaza. This is kind of the center of a city. It's typically going to have a fountain. It might be in the geographic center of the city, or if it's a large city, like this one, this is Trafalgar Square in London. Each neighborhood has their own plazas, and it's a place of gathering, entertainment. Sometimes there's bands playing there. People gather, usually evenings, and hang out and socialize, but it's always in the geographic center of the city, La Plaza. All right, here's another station word, La Estación de Policía. La Estación de Policía. Again, any word that ends in shun, C-I-O-N in Espanol, is always feminine. And then you're just going to change out that last word, bomberos, gasolina, or policía. Accent over that last I for police station. El Restaurante is a cognate. Just add an E to it. El Restaurante. El Rio, accent over the I, is river. El Rio. Maybe you've heard of the Rio Grande, the river that separates Mexico from the United States. El Rio Grande. Rio is river. School is la escuela. La escuela. We studied this word before with our classroom items, and technically there are different words for an elementary school and a high school, but we're just going to go with the generic word for school, la escuela. Again, it sounds like a Q, but it's a C-U-E, not a Q-U. El centro comercial means a shopping center or a mall. El centro comercial. And again, it looks like commercial is referring to shopping. Commercial, you're buying, you're selling things. El centro, center. So you definitely can see that it's a cognate. El centro comercial. A stadium is el estadio. El estadio. I would call that a cognate. I mean, you're just changing a couple of letters, adding a letter or so. Estadio looks like stadium. And in Latin America, Spanish-speaking countries, it would probably be a soccer stadium. It may be a bullfighting stadium if it's in Spain. But those would be the kinds of stadiums, maybe a baseball stadium. Those are the common sports that they play in Latin America. El estadio. Streets, las calles. Las calles. Two things here. The double L sounds like a Y, and this is an exception to the masculine-feminine rule because calle ends in an E, and usually the best answer is that it's masculine, but this one's feminine. El supermercado. El supermercado. Supermarket. It definitely is a cognate. The word mercado means market. So you could take super off of it and just have a market, or you can have a big grocery store, el supermercado. Just a store is la tienda, la tienda. And I always try to remember that maybe you just go to a store to buy a tie, tienda, so you can remember that word looks like tie. And la universidad, la universidad. Again, it's a cognate, but remember that suffix, DAD, is always feminine and translates to TY. La universidad. All right, so do the bottom of this page and write these sentences. Remember the word is or are is the verb estar, and you're using those location words. You also might need to remember that you might have to use those contractions. Remember, at the, to the, of the, from the, al and del. So write your correct answers and then check your own answers. Number 1, the book is in the backpack. El libro está en la mochila. So you're using está. Remember, we're going to either use está or están typically in this unit because we're going to be talking about things. If you're talking about people, you can use any of them. Number 2, the hotel is near the bank. El hotel está cerca del banco. There's where you're using that contraction. My chairs are on the tables. Mis sillas están en las mesas. Again, you're using están because you've got plural things, so it's like they. Our teacher is to the left of the computer. Nuestra maestra está a la izquierda de la computadora. And the school is to the east of the park. La escuela está al este del parque.